Okay, Scott Gorham, Ricky Warwick, pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Good to be here.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, so we'll start with the eternal question. Black Star Riders, as opposed to continuing Thin Lizzy. I know it's the next step in the evolution of Thin Lizzy's music, and you're to be applauded for it, really, as it'd been easier to carry on as Thin Lizzy, I'm sure. Everyone knows the name already. So why then?
Do you want me to take that one, Scott?
Hit it, baby.
No problem. Well, you know, we got to a stage where we've been playing live for almost 3 years. It was going great. The shows were packed, having a whale of a time. And everybody kept saying to us, "Are you guys going to write any new music? It's Thin Lizzy." And it was coming up in every interview. And we were talking about it as well. And I'm saying to Scott, I think I got some pretty good ideas. And Scott has some great guitar ideas. And finally, Scott said, "You know what, let's do this. Let's write some songs." So that was about a year ago, almost to the month, and you know, we started writing in earnest. The floodgates opened. I was like, "Great, we're going to make a Thin Lizzy record. It's going to be awesome!" And you know, everybody was fired up about it. And we started writing some killer songs. I'm very happy with the way everything was going. But as sort of time wore on and a recording deadline grew closer, you know, suddenly Scott and Brian were thinking, "Well, hang on a minute. You know, this is the first record Thin Lizzy are going to be making in 30 years. It's a hell of a long time."
Yeah.
It's the first record we're going to be making without Phil, with a Thin Lizzy name on it. You know, and maybe we should just let history be history here, respect the legacy. Playing live is one thing, but this is another thing, and it's just a huge thing. Maybe we should just respect the legacy and maybe not do this. So Scott and Brian came to me and mentioned this to me, and I said, "It's really funny you should say that, because I've actually been thinking about that as well, just the pressure of it and how it will be seen and how it will be accepted, and you know, maybe it's just it's been sitting weird with me, and my gut's kind of been feeling a bit weird about it." So, taking it all into consideration, we decided that we really wanted to record these songs because we believed in them and felt they were great, but we would do it under a different name, and that's really what it came down to. And that also brought to light the fact that Brian Downey and Darren Warren took that opportunity to basically go, "You know what, guys, we've been doing a hell of a lot of road work. And we're a bit burnt out in the road work, and we really want to take some time out." Darren had a movie he wanted to finish. Brian just wanted to spend more time at home. Just didn't want to be away on the road 6-7 months of the year.
Yeah.
So they took that opportunity to go, "You know what, you guys go and record these songs, change the name. We're right behind you. You know, our blessing. We're just going to step aside and take a break from this whole craziness for a while." And that's exactly what happened. So the four of us were left. Going forward, very excited with the new songs, and we needed a new name, and lo and behold, Black Star Riders were born.
And what's the significance of the name?
We wanted a name that was anthemic, grand, had a bit of a Wild West feel to it, was a bit anthemic, kind of summed up the attitude and the feel of the songs. And you know, we looked around for a name. The movie Tombstone is a movie that we watch a lot on the bus. We love a lot of cowboy movies in Wild West. So I watched that to see if anything would jump out at me from the dialogue or anything at all, and Black Star was mentioned. It jumped out at me. I thought, that's pretty cool, but it needs something else. Again, taking into consideration the songs, the whole vibe, Riders just popped into my head. I thought, Black Star Riders is pretty cool. I wonder if the rest of the guys would dig that. Took it to the rest of the boys. Everybody seemed to really like it, and we felt it just fitted what we were trying to do.
Yeah, great. It does sound good. And the new single, Bound for Glory, carries on very much in the sort of Thin Lizzy mould. Really loved it straight away. Even vocally, very full lineup. And how did the new album then come together then, writing-wise?
A lot of different ways. You know, a couple of songs were written at home by different individuals, but most of it was written out on the road, on tour.
Okay.
Because it was really, it's kind of like where we live, out on the road. So the only time where we can actually get together and glue these songs together is on the road. So it was acoustic guitars at the ready, at the, hotel rooms, backstage at different gigs, the back lounge of the bus going to the next city. That is basically how the album was written. But the other side of it too was, we had to carve out a couple of days in a couple of different demo studios to really hone in, the different parts and the arrangements, and so we could really hear what Ricky was singing, the melody lines and all that. So it wasn't done in like one particular way. It was iPhones and iPads at the ready on record and slamming down all these ideas in these really odd places. But it was all exciting stuff. We had a great time doing it just that way.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it too. I mean, All Hell Breaks Loose is the album. You got the big time producer Kevin Shirley. He's worked with Silverchair, Iron Maiden, Black Crowes, Rush, etc., etc. Why him in particular?
Well, there's a couple of things there. We had time constraints on this album, and also there's the financial side of it. Kevin works very quickly. We know that because we've talked to other guys that have worked with Kevin. And because of the time constraints we had, we knew that this was a guy that could get this album down in the right way, the way we wanted it, in a really quick fashion. We did this album, it was 12 tracks in 12 days. So we didn't know it was going to be that fast. I think we knew if it was going to be that fast, we probably could have freaked out a little bit.
Right? You could have done a double album.
But he in 4 weeks, no problem. But I don't think any of us had ever recorded an album that quickly. I think you were saying the quickest you ever did one was like in 4 weeks time or something like and even that is quick. Yeah. There was no putting a basic track down. Well, we're going to listen to that for a couple of days and let me scratch my head and think about what kind of guitar part I want to put on this. There was none of that. It was Jimmy DeGrasso, the drummer. You count us in, and I'll see you at the end. And because tomorrow we're going to finish this song because tomorrow we're starting on track 2. So it was a little frightening, but it wasn't unknown territory because we'd been on the road pretty much constantly for a year and a half. So we had taken our live setup, plopped it in the studio, and just it went for it. So mentally, we were kind of geared up for that way of recording anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was recorded extremely quickly, and what did you... These are all my questions gone.
I'm getting them to you before you can answer.
Right, good night, thanks a lot.
Gotta go, bye-bye.
No, because did you want that live feel then? Because they were recorded so quick, get in there, do it live, and then maybe put a couple of overdubs and retain that energy as it was.
I didn't think we had a choice.
No, we didn't, but I guess looking back on it now, that's what we're about, and doing it that way, you certainly capture an energy and a vibe and a moment that you wouldn't capture knowing you play differently too. If you know you've got time to go back and fix something, or you're going to spend 3 days analysing the part,
it's true, actually.
You're not playing with the same intensity. You just aren't, because you know that I'm going to be able to go in and get this right. Somebody sort of said to you, you're going to play this and you're going to get it right now. You're like, you're on it and you're focused. And I think that's something that's unique to that way of recording. It might not necessarily always be right, but certainly for us, for the first album, it was. It might not be necessarily right for the second or the third Black Star Riders album, but for right now, when we started, because we were all feeling, we were all excited, we were all jumpy and ready to go.
Yeah.
I think Kevin just wanted to tap into that energy and the vibrancy that was going on.
See, it was mixed real quick as well, It's like Thin Lizzy of old, basically, Have we turned full circle almost from the big production of the sort of 80s and 90s back to sort of bang, get the live stuff out?
Well, I think what we got was the best of both worlds in there.
Yeah.
It's probably, you could probably hark back to the the Live and Dangerous kind of feel on there, but at the same time, Kevin is such a good producer that he's actually able to slip those production kind of ideas in there almost without you even noticing that he's done it, right? So he's very clever that way. To do an album like this, get your attention really quickly as a musician. Because you've got to be on the ball like right now, not tomorrow, but right now. So it was a challenge, and we were up for it.
Absolutely. And with Phil Lynott, if he was, I know he's obviously a good friend of yours, would he be happy with the Thin Lizzy heritage? The way that the music's looked at and accepted so marvelously.
I think he would have 100%. I think he would have listened to this album and he would have gone, this is a kick-ass album, I love this, right? Because, first and foremost, Phil is a player. It's what he did, right? So as a player, I think he would kind of, it would register with him and resonate with him, how this was done and in the right frame of mind that we did it in, right? I think he would really appreciate it and really dig it.
Yeah. What are your both sort of favourite tracks on there as we speak right now?
Favorite tracks? I can't look at it as a favorite track kind of album. This is the first album, since I can't even remember, where I can drop the needle on track number 1 and listen down to it all the way to track 12. I think if there was, say like 3 favorite tracks, I would probably consider this album a failure. But now that I can drop it on number 1 and go right to number 12, that's why it feels like a success to me. For me personally, whatever happens out at the public at large, that's going to be up to them, right? But for me personally, because I can do that with this album, it's a success.
I would echo that. It's hard to change. To pick a different song and just say that, or pick a song and say that's the one that I love the most, because for me it changes every day.
Yeah, but right now you must have
today,
one.
Today I might be
He wants one, man. He wants
Today's Kingdom of the Lost. I said to Scott, that's the one I woke up and it was stuck in my head this morning. The riff was there and I've been humming it all day. Tomorrow it'll be Bloodshot. The next day it might be Valley of the Stones, and that's what it's been like since we finished it. Different songs keep coming into my head, and that's a good thing.
Great stuff. Going back to sort of the Thin Lizzy era just for a slight bit, Scott, what are the 3 tracks that you remember playing sort of live or in the studio with Phil Lynott that sort of you most treasure?
Well, God, there's so many of them, man. That's a huge catalog. Well, I still remember being in Canada doing Dancing in the Moonlight, Bad Reputation. Live-wise, it's always going to be, Emerald, Still in Love with You is a great song to play. It's the only ballad that we actually really had, and it's always a good feeling song to play when you get to that part of the set. It's such a huge catalog that when we put the set together, we really almost have to go into a meeting to see, what is the set list going to be like. Not only tonight or this week or this tour or whatever, we have so many songs we can chop and change all the time. It's a pretty cool thing to have at your fingertips.
Yeah, no, it must be. That's the blessing. And Ricky, I saw you loads of times with New Model Army. I was a massive fan,
cool.
And the Almighty as well. But what does it feel like to fill these shoes right now then?
For Black Star Riders, it's easy because I'm filling my own shoes and I'm being me. 100%, but the Lizzy thing was an absolute honour, absolute joy, and a dream come true. And what I always say, and I've always said, and will always say, I never filled those shoes. All I did was stand beside them. You can't fill those shoes. You can't replace that man. That's genius and uniqueness right there. So all I did was stand beside them and try and sing the Lizzy songs the way we know and love them, and would want them to be heard as best I can. That when people close their eyes, they still get that warm feeling they would have got if Phil was singing them. But I'm very much my own man, and with Black Star Riders, I can certainly get out of the shadow of Phil a little bit, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's the last 3 years have just been superb for me. It's been a real honour, a real joy, in every respect of the word, and I'm very, very proud to be part of it and have been part of it.
Great.
And that's probably one of the cool things about changing the name is.
Yeah.
Now you're not guided by the Thin Lizzy path all the time. If it would have been a straight out and out Thin Lizzy album, there would have been avenues that you would have had to taken to appease this group of people, and then you would have had to do this certain thing all the time to appease this portion of the audience, right? Now, because of the name change, now we're able to zing off into other directions, use different instrumentations if we want to, write different chord changes and patterns, and yes, there's still harmony guitars, but we can work them in there in a different kind of way. So it's really made it so we can branch out a lot more and take the, if you will, the blinkers off a little bit.
Fantastic. And Scott, you've had 2 sort of guitar loves. The classic Gibson Les Paul and the Fender Stratocaster. What were you using on the album and why? And don't let the fact that we're in Gibson studios.
No, I won't do that.
Anyway, your judgment.
Well, these days, and it's not because we're sitting here in the fabulous Gibson Center, but I use the Gibson Les Paul Access exclusively now. I've mothballed my Stratocaster for probably, maybe forever. I might bring it out on a couple of recordings here and there, right? But my absolute favorite guitar for the last 3-4 years now has been the Access guitar. It's, I love the weight of it, the feel, the sound. It fits my personality perfectly.
Brilliant. And recently, 700 new Thin Lizzy songs were unearthed. So
No.
No?
That was a record company a misprint. It was more like 70.
Oh, really? All right. I bet still.
No, you think about it, even the Beatles didn't come up with 700 songs.
Not bad. I thought different recordings, etc. It could have been, different versions of, the main.
No, I get what you mean, but the original PR thing that
It
came
was
out
700,
was
yeah,
700 brand new songs. I'm looking at this going, oh my God, who said that? So, they were in the vault, if you will. We had all these tapes that we found that we had to have digitally baked because they were falling apart. In fact, there was a few of the tapes that we lost because we left it for too long. And when you have something like that, you go, I wonder what was on that tape, and I wonder what was on that one, But we'll never know on that side of it. A lot of it turned out to be, live material from different gigs throughout the years, which you'll see and hear on the box set that's coming out later on in the year. There's rehearsal tapes where you hear us kind of going over a certain song for the first time, and it sounds really bad. Some of this stuff was sort of, I always say, is unfit for human consumption. You don't really want to have people hear you at your extreme vulnerable points because you're fumbling around and trying to find a guitar bit here or there, and that the button's been pushed in and you're recording it, but it's okay because nobody's ever going to hear this. So some of that is being put on the box set, and I've had to fight Universal on that, but they were saying that there's people out there that do want to hear it. They want to hear the evolution of the song and all that. So I've had to relent and say, okay, and throw myself into the fetal position on the floor and start shaking. But hopefully everybody will like it when they hear that. Hopefully they'll find it interesting.
Oh no, I'm sure we will. Well, listen, thanks a lot for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. What about festival-wise? What's planned?
We hit it pretty hard starting June. Unfortunately, no UK festivals this year, but that will be happening next year for sure. We're doing the European one, starting in Germany, do Sweden Rocks, and further beyond. We're adding dates all the time. There's a big UK European tour already booked for October through December, which we'll be announcing pretty soon. And best thing to do is go to blackstarriders.com, Facebook page, the Twitter page, because that'll be updated as the gigs come in. We'll put them up. But we're sitting on quite a lot of dates. We're just waiting for the right time to unleash the news.
Superb. Anything else you'd like to say to Music News watchers?
Thanks for your support, and please come and check out Black Star Riders, the album and the live shows.
See you at the show.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot for your time. Cheers.
Right,
thanks, man.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thanks, man.
Superb. Thanks.